Welcome to the Mindset Space podcast, where we explore the unique challenges and triumphs of building a business while having a 9 to 5, balancing family and personal time. You're going to learn how to nurture a resilient mindset, living a fulfilling life, but more importantly, you're going to learn how to enjoy your life. I'm on a mission to help you live your very best in life. So let's dive into practical strategies crafted for solo mompreneurs just like you, seeking fulfillment in every aspect of your life. Let's dive in. Welcome to the episode number 7 of the Mindset Space podcast. I am beyond grateful and excited to have you tuning into this week's episode. Today, we're going to talk about how to be true to ourselves in life and business. How can I be authentic? How can I show up in the world as who I am and showing up in a way that feels good to me? Let's talk about that. Now, I want to tell you that before I learn uh, about how to set values and how to be true to myself, I struggle a lot. I struggle with my relationships with people. I struggle with defining what I wanted for my life. I struggle with understanding what I was here to do on this earth. I struggle with self love. I struggle with a lot of things, setting boundaries. Like there are many things that comes along when we don't set values for ourselves, when we are not sure of what those values are. And that's why today I want to talk a little bit about that because I think it's so important when you're creating a business, when you're leading a business, and for your life, for you to understand what values are and how they can help you craft a life and business that makes sense to you, which is what we are aiming for. Always, no matter what we do in life and business, as solopreneur moms, as women thriving for living a life that feels good for us, no matter what we do, we need to set values. All right. So, telling a little bit more about my story with values, one of the things that I really felt deep in my heart back when I was in my 20s was that one thing that I did because of the lack of values was to just follow the crowd. I was always comparing myself to other people. I was always feeling that I didn't accomplish anything important in my life. I indeed accomplished a lot, but I always felt that I never accomplished like anything important because when I look into other people's lives, I always thought they accomplished more than I did. And that's how my days went by. Like I compare myself to others. If I was working, I felt that I didn't earn enough money. I always put myself down in front of others. I never knew how I wanted to be treated. And because of that, I didn't set any boundaries, and people treated me really badly at work and also in the relationship with my husband back then. I got married pretty young, so um, I can tell that there was a lot of issues in my marriage because of the lack of values. In the business side of it, I if I didn't set my values, I don't think I will be in business today. I don't think I will be here talking to you today. It requires to really be clear on what you want to really, be brave enough to show up in the world and show who you truly are and be authentic, like showing your true self. Because we know that in the internet, you will find many, many things. We don't want to focus on the negativity. We don't want to focus on what we know some people are doing, which is, just a copy pasting or doing all like things just the way of other people are doing it. We don't want to focus on that today also, but the idea is that that even if there are people that they think they have set like values for themselves and maybe they are just, replicating other people actions and stuff, we don't want to focus on that. But it is really important for us to also recognize that those things exist, because you might see people online selling something, and then when you know them, you will see that they are not reflecting what they say, for example, they do. And in business, for example, this is another thing that we will struggle if we don't set like our values. We will just follow what other people are doing without focusing on what really matters to us. And it's not our fault. You know, I had all these struggles in the past with my values and all that I'm sharing with you, and it wasn't my fault. So if right now you feel that you're not clear on your values, please don't judge yourself. Don't feel wrong about it, because sometimes we just don't know. We learn as we grow, and we learn by the information we receive from our parents, from our friends, and that's all we know. So you can never judge yourself for anything you don't know, or for anything that you feel, oh my God, I've been doing this that way all this time and you just don't know. And that is okay. And the reason I'm sharing that is because we can feel like so bad about ourselves sometimes when we come across to some information that we say, oh my God, I I was all wrong all this time. And yes, I never get to enjoy my days in this precious life because I was always suffering. When you don't set your values, you are constantly suffering because you don't know what you want. You don't know when you're going in life. Your life, it's like a lack of purpose and meaning that you have, that there is nothing that can basically fill your cup. I've been a believer for most of my life. Since I was really, really young, as a teenager, I became Christian when I was pretty young. I love God with all my heart. And I thought I was okay. I thought everything was fine. I read the Bible and all that stuff. And until I get to the point that I set my values as a person, that's when I discover and started to understand the words of the Bible even more, because everything is clear for you. Your vision of life changes. Your perspective on things changes, because now you are not looking into what other people is doing in order for you to do what you think is right or wrong. No, it's that you set what is right or wrong from your own perspective. It's like a feeling of you embracing your life and taking control of your life, and then you start making decisions and leading your life where you wanted it to be. It's so empowered. And it's so wonderful because you no longer allow anybody to come to tell you how you want to lead your life or your business, how you want to grow your children, how you want to, work on your relationship with your husband. It's so, so, so fun, so amazing. I invite you to step into creating these values for yourself and set this vision of your life intentionally so that you can make this happen. So let's define what values are. Values basically are the things that you enjoy. For example, when you are talking to your husband, I'm going to give you an example. This is the first thing that comes to my mind. So let's just move into that. So imagine you're talking to your husband and he speaks to you in a way that you don't feel good. Instead of you just allowing him to tell you or to speak to you whatever he likes, and you just, you don't do anything, you express how you want him to treat you so that you get the response that you're looking for from him. That is, you value, for example, to be listened. You value for him to pay attention to you when you're talking to him. And then you communicate that. And then the person, it's not that you will be like expecting for people to do what you want. It's not about that. It's about you communicating those values, because that's what's going to help people learn how you want them to treat you. This is in the case of relationships. In the case of the business, for example, to give you another example, you value your time, right? And then you say, okay, I value my personal time. So I'm just going to work between this specific time frame. I'm just going to work with this type of people. It's like those boundaries that we set for ourselves, but it's also like us redefining or basically telling life how we wanted it to be. It's basically the creation of the scenario of the life that we want for ourselves. And we start just living it. We start living that life. So what you can do with this, how you can start setting those values, or you can call them boundaries, you can call them limits. But I want to see my values as the things that are precious to me. The thing that I value. Value means something that is that it's really worthy for you. It's precious. It's so, so, so important. And you, as this is so important to you, you always have it in your mind. You have a crystal clear vision of what this is, because it's important to you. That's why sometimes I get so surprised with people that says, "Oh, I value my health," and then you don't see them. You don't see them. It's not that you're going to judge them, but if you're telling something, make sure that you are actually living it, right? After you set those values, I know this might be a challenge because you might start to implement new habits. You might start to change some actions, some habits that you already have. And it's a challenge. I'm not going to deny it. Sometimes I, find myself, oh my God, having to redefine my values because sometimes I forget about them. Because the idea is that you can pay attention to those values on a daily basis, because you can easily forget. Why? Because we are experiencing life, because things happen, and sometimes we just caught up in the living, and the existency. And then it's okay. We are living, right? There are things problems that may arise, and then you lose your focus. You lose your focus into what it is that you value from life. And you fall sometimes into not following those values, right? But the idea is that you know what is the meaning behind the values. The meaning behind the values is that they set the purpose of your life. They set the intention for you to live your life the way you wanted it to be, however it is that you wanted it. If you love to be sitting on your couch when you come from home, and this is something that you value, okay, and you just come and do that. If you love to travel, then you put your attention into traveling because you value traveling. And then people will tell you, oh, but you spend on your money on traveling. And you say, you know what? I love traveling. If you want to grow a business and this is what you value, then you must start doing something to grow grow your business, because you know what I mean? The values are so, so, so important, because it's like the fire that ignites the our dreams, our aspirations. Because when you set those intentions, those values, you move yourself into action. And that's what I love them so much. You move yourself into the direction you want to go, because you have now a vision for your life. You have now a clear path. So if we can like say something, if we can define values with a word, is the values are basically is a life vision. Is how we wanted our life to be, and purposely following that path. Now, I want to give you a few steps or tips. I always find myself trying to say, okay, what are these tips, aspects, guides? Anyways, 5 points I want to give you today for you to know about values and how you can start to be true to yourself, right? So, to be true to yourself, the first thing you need to do is to define those values. I already shared with you what values are, what this is coming from. After you define, I always like bring redefine to my, like, this word is always in my mind. Anyways, so number one, redefine your values. What are my values? What do I value? What is the vision of my life? What do I enjoy? And then you will set those values on each area of your life, so that it's easier for you to know what you want for everything, not only for your professional life, but also for your relationship and then your goals overall, like for your everything you want for your life, right? Now, after you define those values, the next thing you want to do is to communicate those values. Because imagine that you want to, you want people to listen to you, right? And then you never, for example, with your partner, share to your partner how important for you is to be listened. Again, this is not about you pushing people to change. It's not about that. But it's about you communicating what you want so that people know. It's like it's a start, okay? Because, for example, sometimes we want something, but then we don't communicate that. We don't do anything about that. We don't define any values. And then we don't get it. And then we say, but why I never get what I want? So let's start from there. If you value something, communicate that value in your business. Communicate that value on your message, on your mission. Communicate that value with your partner. Communicate your value so that people know. Sometimes we expect for people to know how we feel, what we want, but until we tell them, they don't know, right? So communicate your values. And number 3, write it down, please. Write down your values. This year, I value so much my inner peace. And this year, I set an intention for this year to be full of peacefulness. Because I love to feel at peace with myself. There is nothing that brings me more joy and happiness than feel at peace with myself. And for me, that means that I will follow my value of taking care of my nutrition, taking care of my daughter and being a good mom. Those are like my main priorities, for example. And this is something that we talked about last week, which is also they come along with the values, because at the end, when we reflect those values, they come into the actions that we take on a daily basis, which becomes the habits that we do. You see, like everything is at the end, everything, it's like a chain. One thing is connected to another, and so on. So write those values down. Okay, so Annie, I value my inner peace. I value my inner peace. I value the feeling of being at peace with the world, feeling content with my life, being present. I love that so much. So every day I thrive to do things that make me feel that way. And this is, for example, my intention for this year. So every time I found myself feeling, oh, no, feeling sad, I go and find those feelings because that's how I want to feel. All right. So if you want to focus on those values, if you want to be crystal clear about those values, you need to write them down so that you know. Because if you don't know, like, okay, I know that I want to be treated on a certain way. I know I want people to listen to me. I know I want to work with these specific people. I know that my clients know that, like, I want my clients to know that I only work with women on their 30s, and like everything comes with how you want to work, like in the people you want to work in the business you want to grow. Everything comes together. You don't want to do a business that you don't love. For example, I value this moment that I'm sharing with you and these words that I'm sharing with you in this podcast. This is something I want to teach. I'm not going to teach something that I don't feel passionate about because it's not a part of my values. I'm not going to sell something that I know, like a transformation that I know I cannot accomplish because this is not part of my values. I thrive for excellency, and anything that I do, it's all about me become a better person because this is part of my values. So now the question is, what are your values? So your task for today is start writing down your values little by little. If you're not sure, it's okay. You can start just by writing down the things that you enjoy. Think about things, and then you start to notice the feeling that comes with those. When you think about those things, get the feeling of it. And from the feeling, you can tell, oh, this is something I like. It's important to me. And then you can write it down. And this is something that varies with time. We are constantly changing. We are constantly evolving. And as we evolve and grow, the same happens with our values. So to show up in the world with authenticity and being true to yourself, this is another thing you can do. So step number 3, write down your values. Number 4, for you to have values and set values, you need to have a growth mindset. Having a growth mindset means that you focus on the positivity, that you're always aiming for, grow and learn new things about yourself, to always reflect on yourself and being self-aware and all these things that comes with personal development. So in order for you to have those values set and always like learn about yourself, it is good for you to develop a growth mindset. All right. So that you step into the right mindset, because you need to be tuned into this type of mindset in order for you to start working on this. Because this is the deep inner work that you have to do. All right. This is not you just writing down stuff. This is you being aware of your life, being aware of yourself, and really, really diving into your personal relationship with yourself and what you want from your life. And this all might open the door to uncomfortable feelings at the beginning, because you might be also noticing things that you've been accepting that is not your true self. things that you might be doing that you know that don't come from your deep inside, like from your deep self, from your values. And then you might don't feel so comfortable by confronting those things. But guess what? The the next side out of that is freedom, is happiness, is joyfulness. I don't even know if that is a word that can be said, but I hope it makes sense what I'm telling you. And then the step number 5 is set yourself to living a life with purpose every single day. You see, that's what I tell you. Develop a growth mindset. But more importantly, is that you set yourself an intention to live a life with purpose, because that will help you to follow those values easily. And what does that mean to live a life with purpose? Living a life with purpose is to be intentional with your actions, is to be present in the moment. Living a life with purpose is to follow those values and put them into action on every single moment. Every decision you want to make, every business you want to start, every client you want to work with, your family, your it's like everything. Some people think, or maybe reduce the word purpose to just a profession or just, what I do for a living. And living a life with purpose is us giving ourselves permission to enjoy from our own perspective, from the things that are important for us, from our values, giving ourselves permission to intentionally live a life that follow those values intentionally. Because don't this sounds so good and so empowered and so nice, but you know that it's easier said than done, right? But the fact that it's not easy, that doesn't mean that you can do it. You can absolutely do it. And when you do it, you will remember these words. When you start like living a life with values and with intentionally setting your day with living a life purposely, you will be fulfilled. And your family, your life, your business, everything you do will feel good. Life is not perfect, but you will always follow your values. Whenever it is something happen, you will think about those values. Whenever it is you're talking to people, whenever it is you're having to make a decision, those values will come into place. And that's how you live a life with purpose. That's how every day you feel like content. You feel like you have a meaning, right? You are not here just because, but you are living a life with purpose. And a purposeful life comes along with living a life where you can have and express those values. And then that's how you are true to yourself. Because those values help you to set boundaries, set limits into who you are, into how you want to show up in the world, and how and you communicate that so that people know, and then you receive that. And that applies for every aspect of our life. And then you become more authentic because you are not trying to follow anything. You're just following your own guidance, what you believe, what you think it's good. Even if some people think it's not good, you focus on what is good for you, for you, for you. And that sounds, kind of, but what if you're wrong? It's not about if I'm good or if I'm wrong. It's about what I feel. And it's about what is good for me. It's about you, my darling. It's about you, dear Solomonpreneur. It's about you. So let's recap. Number one, define your values. Number two, make sure that you communicate those values. Number three, write them down. Write them down so that you focus on them and you don't forget about them. And if you have to redefine them along the way, do so. Because life is not static. We are constantly evolving and changing. Develop a growth mindset. And number five, set yourself to living a life with purpose every single day. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming to the end of this episode with me. I am grateful. I really appreciate you. If you like this episode and you feel that, I don't know, you learned something, please subscribe so that we can continue growing and sharing valuable information to you, or share it with a friend. If you need more help with this, you know that you can find me in AnnieVelasquez.com. I'm offering one-on-one coaching sessions right now, and I have a few spots available that you can reach me out and see if there is something you need help with. I will be more than happy to guide you and to be here for you. Thank you again. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.